Welcome to Doobies and Movies episode 15. It's a day late because of the sesh. But we're here and we are getting ready to divulge our thoughts on His Dark Materials season 2 episode 5, which seems to be called The Scholar, if my online is telling me right. Well, yeah. That was the worst episode of the entire series, 1 and 2 seasons. So
Well, it was certainly the worst episode of season 2. I mean, it was probably the worst episode of season 1 as well. I don't remember all of them. I don't remember disliking one.
exactly, that's it. You'd remember it if you disliked it that much.
Right? And even if it wasn't, the stakes are up now, really. Like, if that had been one of the first episodes, it's like, okay, cool.
It's more forgivable.
It's very much more forgivable.
Yeah.
It wasn't really, you're right.
Well, yeah, we were both, thinking the plot was starting to kick into gear.
That's the problem, isn't it?
That is why the fact that basically the primary problem that the episode had was the structure and the pacing of it. Why they spent 40 minutes.
The whole season as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just, it's like, okay, cool, first 3 episodes, we're in a new world, maybe we're meeting some new characters, things are a little bit rocky, it's a little bit slow, cool. So, okay, the pacing should have been episode 4 was bigger, it was getting going, right, now we're in, now the plot's going, now we know who our characters are, now it's like, and it just, completely fell flat this episode.
Well, I think the simple thing is that it's so slowly paced that this scene at the end of this episode we thought could have even happened 2 episodes ago. We thought that 2 episodes ago, fair enough, they're saving it for next episode. Then that whole next episode, they left it again at the end, like, okay, it's happening next episode, and then it still happens at the end of this episode, and they have 40 minutes pretty much doing nothing. At this point in season 2, at this point in, it's ridiculous, and it's boring.
Compare it to Mandalorian, where it's like, okay, it wasn't even slow to begin, but it was okay. They're doing other stuff, it's like, and even that little bit of slow down that they had with saving Ahsoka for another episode, it's like sooner as Ahsoka comes in, it's like we're going now, and there is easily enough plot. I mean, what I didn't understand with this episode really was just like how many scenes do you have to have Will and Lyra just walking around Chitty Gaza trying to find the entrance to the door? Like, that could have been one scene. They find the entrance, they go in, and then you could have had all these others. I mean, you even still could have had that scene where they're stealing at the end of the episode, but had more with Lee Scoresby and Joffrey, and more with and just more else going on. I mean,
and when you think about how badly they've done the witches, you see how there has been enough time when they're wasting time elsewhere to have developed them. So yeah, that's the thing. It's like, okay, even if it does happen at the end of the episode, I keep dropping this mouse. Even if it does happen at the end of the episode, then at least can we develop other characters rather than having the same conversation with Lyra and Will, because all that's doing is making us disconnect from a relationship that they had already connected us to. And I feel like all it's doing is kind of making us disconnect from it, because there's just a lot of boring kind of slog and fat around the edges. And I do think the fact that after how Joffrey and Lee were the best parts of last episode, to just leave them out it just doesn't make any sense to me, especially what they're about to go through in this, and what they go through in the Subtle Knife together. I don't see why we wouldn't just get more of that. Like, you've hit on something, you finally done something right, do it more. They're not Game of Thrones where they can leave characters out that you like. They don't have that wealth.
Not that many characters. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, my good parts would be, I did enjoy the last 15 minutes or so. I thought the scene was quite well done. I thought there was a nice moment where like Will and Lyra having a conversation afterwards. It felt nice, and
it's good to be positive.
It is, yeah, and I'm not like, I don't totally take away negative. I don't think they did that scene badly, to be honest. I think there was quite a good scene at the end. It was just pacing issues and just how boring that episode was when it was like episode 5. Like, now we're going. He's got the subtle knife now. We're into the plot. Yeah, you can have a couple, slow it down, bring it back up. It doesn't have to all be action, all be pace. But you can't do the first 40 minutes of an episode just Boreal and Mrs. Coulter talking and Will and Lyra talking. Okay, a little bit of magisterium, but whatever,
Yeah, that scene again was very meh.
Yeah.
otherwise, in the episode, there was the very awkward chats with Boreal and Miss Coulter, which again had slog and didn't add too much to the character, other than the one funny bit where she's like trying on like our world normal human clothing. That had an element
Yeah.
of humor to it, but
Okay, no, I like that as well. I like Mrs. Coulter coming into our world or Will's world and being, you know, a few little moments of like being a bit surprised by, I don't know, or just getting kind of used to this world. I thought that was quite nice, you know. And like you say,
it adds a human element to it where she's been missing. I think that's what it is. Like, oh yeah, they're actually humans, and there's awkwardness and there's humor in the world as well. Yeah, which has definitely been lacking in the series. So that stuff. But I thought they had too many conversations that kind of said nothing.
Yeah, again, they could have had a couple conversations, a couple of scenes with her being in this world. Bit of Mary Malone.
Yeah, that's the only other real thing that happened. This is what I mean.
Yeah.
Mary. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it moved things along. Like Mary Malone finally, you know. But even in the books, I remember there just being a lot more interesting, intense with her colleagues, and kind of realizing stuff was going on.
And more explicit.
Yeah, and didn't really feel like there was any real threat to Mary Malone being where she was. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay,
I felt that was rushed. For how much they've developed her, that was rushed.
I agree. Yeah. And like I say in the books, this is real. As far as I remember, it's this real threat of like, oh, you know, like the government's kind of closing in on her machines, on her work. You know, you already have that sense, and then the computer tells her.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta go, and I just didn't feel any of that. It's just like, okay, the computer tells you to leave, so you do it. But where's the threat? Where's the actual motivation from like a plot point of view? You know.
No, it was all rushed and kind of like, again, so much time spent on these uninteresting, boring conversations that really could have been spent on making a lot of these other parts of the show that we are finding more interesting.
And I understand why they're kind of like, okay, we should spend a long time with Lyra. They're the center of the show. They're the relationship you've really got to get right. I do get that a little bit, but it doesn't have to just be them walking around Chitty Gaza just kind of having these dull conversations.
Oh yeah, how cringy was that moment with Leanna Mormon? Oh, you went downstairs to the toilet or to the kitchen or something? Yeah. Oh my god, it was awful. That's when I think we came with the drinking game of whenever there's a cringy pummy moment, just to have a drink. But yeah, no, that bit was really bad. What else? There's Mary Malone and Miss Coulter scene, I guess, which is the where have I gone? Yeah, the Mary Malone and Miss Coulter scene.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, I mean, I again, it's like, it's not even that, like, to me, it was most of it was just pacing issues. Most of it was just like, it wasn't like, okay, yeah, it's a bit cringy and awkward or whatever, but it's kind of been that. It's just like, no, like, the real problem with it is like, is that this is the point in the season where things should be heating up. This is the point in the season where things should really start to feel quick. And again, if you're kind of doing that on purpose, if you're on purpose, you really feel it's speeding up, and then you have an episode to slow down, that can work. But that's not what it felt like. It just felt like.
It's just slog and filler. I think, yeah, people like something when it slows down. I don't think that they use the word slow in that context. They kind of say something more like, yeah, like a slow burn or a build up, or or an emotional episode, or I don't know. Yeah, I think that it was just a pretty shit episode, and I don't want to just hate on it either too much. I mean, yeah, the Mary Malone and Miss Coulter scene was decent.
And like I said, the last 15 minutes I enjoyed, like, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, let's get to that
episode. Yeah, cool. You know, yeah, the whole scene at the end was really good. It was a nice. I thought it was a nice moment with Lyra and Mrs. Coulter, to be honest. I thought. Yeah, and like I say, when Lyra goes back to Chitty Gaza, they do have a nice.
Yeah, exactly. I do think
talk, so
that bit was good, actually, where Lyra is trying to understand her mum and talking to Will about it. Yeah, that was good. And the demons fighting was done all right, but still found again that seemed to be a little bit rushed.
Yeah, it just could have been the first part of the episode. Like, you don't need to do this thing where you just build it up each episode. Like, yeah, you can be a bit unorthodox in an interesting way. You can just come
Yeah.
in, right, this is what's happening, it's pace. And then halfway through the episode, we get that scene, and then you can cool off for the rest of the episode. You don't even need to.
And then people are already kind of into it rather than fading out of it by that point.
Exactly.
No, it was a horribly placed episode, and I do think it was the worst episode of the series. And it's not like what the early episodes where they're speculating and points to make. Now it's just starting to feel a little bit. I mean, it's a little bit like supporting Arsenal, to be honest. It's a little bit like an acceptance that, you know, we wanted this to work, we wanted this adaptation to work, but at the moment it really doesn't seem like it is. Either every one step forward, there seems to be 3 steps back. So, you know, there's 3 more episodes left of the season, but even that makes you feel like we're over halfway through a season. How much content or story have we really seen for like what's over halfway through?
Yeah.
It means that more's got to happen in the last 3 episodes than has happened in like the whole series combined. Right? Otherwise, it's just fucked.
Yeah, no, it feels like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, the only hope would be, well, now that they've kind of been going slow, but then it might end up feeling like rushed actually for the last 3 episodes, which would be very strange. But I mean, yeah, like I said, there is the hope that the last 3 episodes are genuinely well paced, quick, interesting. You know, there is some great stuff happening at the end of Subtle Knife. There's a big battle with the witches and the Zeppelins, right? As they all come into Chitty Gaza.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope they do it right, because action is not generally their forte either.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But no, I can't say much good about the episode other than
even the ultimate defender.
I know. I'm still probably more positive about it than you, but I have to admit this one, because I was willing to give them a lot more leeway with the first 3 episodes. Like, okay, it's slow, but you're building things up again. Okay, the cringe is a bit less forgivable, but the cringe always wasn't there in the most important scenes, the scenes of Will and Lyra, really. But yeah, this episode I can't defend that much, to be honest, because it just was boring. Just simply
very boring.
It was just boring, you know.
Well,
I got to agree.
So so before wrapping it up, we'll go through our rating time. What did you give it out of 10? It
was a 5 for me. I think it was a 5.
I think it was a 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you might say that. No, it was just a 5 for me, to be honest.
Well,
less forgiving.
Yeah, I think it's time where I usually at this point of an episode big up the Mandalorian team or whoever we're talking about. This is a point I do want to call out Jack Thorne and whoever else is writing this show, because it is just grim and glum and dull and colorless and humorless and very robotic, and you got to sort it out. You have got to sort it out.
Yeah, you got to sort it out. But you know what? I am just going to keep being hopeful. I'm going to retain hope that the last 3 episodes come in strong. The last episode was the one before this was enjoyable. It felt like they were getting back on their feet. Mm-hmm. So let's just hope this was a blip. Let's hope this was just one the last poor episode, and the last 3, they're all strong, you know?
It's good to be positive.
It is good to be positive. And then going into Mamba Spyglass, we can really hope that they pick it up and they do well. I'm remaining positive as much as I can't pick up this episode in any real way.
Well, we appreciate the positivity. I hope it gets better. But yeah, thank you for tuning in to Doobies and Movies. Probably gonna do an episode rounding up the shit from the week, because there's just so much. Attack on Titan, Euphoria, the new Bryan Cranston miniseries. There's a lot to dig into, so I might just do a video for that. But in the meantime, keep smoking doobies, keep watching movies. I think Cuffs one was unscripted, unedited, unadulterated. Any other slogans you got coming, we'll take them. Safe. Oh yeah, like and subscribe the page. Love and vibe every day. That's another slogan. 3 slogans. Let's go.
Nice.
Safe.
Cool.